Today I want to walk you through the basic strokes. So what I have here is page 1 of the workbook. I have some Canson marker paper. I have my glass dip pen, and then of course I have my little vial of Ferris wheel press ink that I'm going to be using. So the basic strokes, they're the foundation of lettering, and I didn't actually learn these when I started, and I wish I would have, because it's super helpful to have these basic strokes. So they kind of look like random little shapes, and there's ones on this side too, but they actually combine to make almost all of the lowercase letters. So it's really great, like it's foundational to learn these. If you can learn these, then you can really master lettering. So as I go through these, I'm going to be referring to these guidelines, so I wanted to teach you what they are. So this first one is called the baseline. That's where the base of all of the letters sit. Then here we have the waistline. That's where the waist of all the letters come up to that point. The lowercase letters come up to that point. There's the ascender line. That's where any letter that has a portion of it that ascends above the waistline would go up to there. So that'd be like an L or a K. And then you have this descender line. So any letter that has a portion of it that descends below the baseline would go to that point. So that's like a G or a Y. And then there's also this angle line. So all of our strokes in our letters are at an angle, and so that's to help you accomplish that. So when we're drawing these, what we're going to want to do is put our tracing paper over the top. So at this point I'm ready to start, so I'm going to put my Canson marker paper just over the top and just kind of line it up with this guideline. And I'm going to take my glass dip pen, and you can hold your glass dip pen how you would hold a regular pen. So I kind of hold mine I don't know, about here feels most comfortable because this part's a lot wider. You could hold it closer if you want, but I'm holding it about here. And then you take the lid off of your ink, and then what you do is you just dip your pen, glass dip pen, into the ink. And I usually do just one little kind of swipe to get any excess ink off, and then I'll set my ink to the side. So this very first stroke is called the upstroke. So we're going to start at the baseline, and we're going to curve up to the waistline. So it's just this slight curve, and using your glass dip pen, it's very similar to just like writing with a pencil or a pen or something. It just looks super fancy, but it has a monoline tip, so you're not going to get any thickness or thinness with it. It's all just going to be one thickness with your strokes. So that's the upstroke. And then I like to move my paper down so I don't waste any of this Canson marker paper. And the next one is called a downstroke. So this one's going to start at the waistline, and you're going to come down to the baseline at an angle. And for these, it's really helpful. You can see the angle line is here. You can just draw right over the top of that angle line, and that's going to help you get the angle of your downstroke correct. Next is called an overturn. This one is like an upside down U shape. This one's going to start at the baseline, curve up to the waistline, curve back down to the baseline. So it's like an upside down U shape. And you can start drawing it right on the angle line to help you get that angle correct. At this point, I'm going to redip my glass dip pen, redip, and do a swipe. And I'm ready to keep going. The next one is called an underturn. This one starts at the waistline, and we're going to come down to the baseline, back up to the waistline. So it's just kind of this U shape. Waistline, down to baseline, and curve back up. The next one's called a comma dot. This one starts at the waistline, and it comes halfway down, and then it will go back up. So we're starting at the waistline, come down, come back up. So it's like a little mini underturn, little mini U shape. From here, our workbook is front to back, so we can flip it to the back. And you can see I already drew in my workbook from our workshop. So you can write right onto the workbook if you prefer, especially if it's easier for you to see. That's a great option too. I'm going to redip my pen and do one swipe. I'm going to start here at the baseline, curve up to the waistline, curve back down, and curve back up again. So this one is just kind of a squiggle shape. It's a combination of the overturn and the underturn together. We've only got a few more. The next one is called the O form. This one starts at the 2 o'clock position, and you're going to work your way around and come back up. So this one, the angle line is here. The center axis of the O form should be like that. So start at 2 o'clock, work your way around, and come back up again. Next is the P. Sorry, I said P because it looks like a P, but it's the ascending loop. Sorry about that. So you start at the waistline and you're going to loop up to the ascending line and then loop back down. And you want to get, you can see the angle line is here. You can draw right over that. In the workshop, I explained that sometimes a lot of people will kind of curve that. Even I have a tendency to do that, but we want that edge to be nice and straight. And the last one is called the descending loop. So this one's going to start at the waistline, come down to the descending line, and then loop back up. So it's basically, it's like a reflection of the ascending loop, but it's just going down. And then I briefly wanted to show you one other stroke. It's not a basic stroke, but it's just good to know. With this O form that we did, we started at 2 o'clock and we worked our way around this way. But there's also a reverse O form where we're starting on this side and we work our way that way. And that's going to be on the B. So for example, when we do the letter B, we're going to start over here and work our way around. So that's just, you're just reversing the direction it's going versus this one is going this way, but it's still the same basic shape. It's not a basic stroke, but it's just helpful to know. So then once you know the basic strokes, on the bottom of this page, you can see this example. If you take an O form and combine it with an underturn, you're going to get the letter A. Or if you take an O form, a descending loop, and an upstroke, you're going to get the letter G. So all of these basic strokes look like random funny shapes. When we start combining them and squishing them together, they make almost all of the lowercase letters in the alphabet. So it's super great to practice these, learn these really well, because it's going to help you improve your lettering. At this point, I'm done with my glass dip pen, and so what I like to do is I just run this in the sink and the water just washes it off. If you let it dry, it's going to be a lot harder to get off, and you'll probably need to use like a little toothbrush or a sponge or something to get all of the ink that's dried out of the ridges. So as soon as I'm done, I'll just rinse it off with water and it will be nice and clean and ready to use for next time. So thank you so much for watching. Please let me know if you have any questions about these basic strokes.